Earlier this week, I was working with a client through a career transition company. There's a couple of career transition companies I do a little bit of independent coaching with, and this was one of them. And one of the things that I really like about career transition companies are they're able to offer services most of the time to the clients at no cost for the client whatsoever, because it was the company that went through a downsizing that actually purchased the plan for the client. So, in my private practice, people pay me directly and credit card or check or cash. But with a career transition company, they're not having to pay for coaching services. And some of the career transition companies will offer resume help. Not necessarily writing the resume for the individual, but they will take the person's resume and they will provide suggestions and comments on it and send it back to the client. So the career coaches that work with these career transition companies, they are normally not the ones that are working with the resume. It's these resume specialists that are doing it on the side. The one thing that the resume specialists will not do, at least I have not seen it in any of the career transition companies that I'm aware of, is to completely write a resume from scratch or rewrite an individual's resume to target a completely different career path. This is what that client was looking for. She was kind of upset that the career transition company was not going to provide her a resume with a complete, it was a big career shift. So she went out and she hired a resume writer, and she paid several $100s for this resume writer. Well, during this time of waiting for the resume writer to get back to her, we were talking, and so even in my private practice, I no longer write resumes for my clients. I personally believe that it's the client that can really tell the story for the resume. I will go line by line by line over the resume and will give them, suggestions and, what to do here, and probably almost in a way of rewriting a resume for a client, but I'm not doing that. I'm just giving them very detailed instructions. And so when I was working with this client, she, explained to me the circumstances that she was trying to accomplish. She was going from this career field to this career field here. And I gave her some suggestions as to what she may want to do with her resume. So a couple of weeks later, I have another call with her, and she says, boy, I think I really wasted my money with that resume writer. I fully support and believe what you were providing me as far as some suggestions, and I actually went back to the resume writer with these suggestions. And she says, well, I think your coach is wrong. He's not really following best practices. I don't get into these little tit-or-tat, things with other coaches or resume writers or anything like that. But it made me start thinking about a video here and about individuals that will go out and look for a resume writer. Because something else actually happened just a couple of months before. I was approached by a little tiny boutique company, and I think they were actually in Europe, and I'm here in Silicon Valley in California, and they wanted to partner with me as far as a resume writing service. And at first I thought, this is a pretty good idea, let me take a look at this. And so I went and I visited the homepage, and the resumes there were not applicant tracking friendly at all. They were very pleasing to the eye, but they would never go through an applicant tracking system. And I wrote back to the individual and I explained, I said, thank you for thinking of me, thank you for the offer, but we have these ATS here. And the individual actually came back and says, well, our resumes will go through an applicant tracking system just fine. And it's like, I don't even think you know what an applicant tracking system is. I don't know. But maybe watching this video, I may get some hate mail from them a little bit. But the bottom line is this. I want you to understand, Anyone can call themselves a resume writer. There's no certificate, there's no credential, there's no degree. And the thing is there's really no agency out there that is governing this whole industry. Person thinks they're a good writer, they can call themselves a resume writer and go out and charge $400, $500, $600, $700 and write a resume. There's just nothing, that stops them from doing this. By the way, it's the same with coaches too. Anybody can call themselves a coach. But here's the thing with coaches. If there ever was a organization that could be the governing organization for coaches, it would be the International Coach Federation. This is an organization, it's a membership organization that you pay, a coach can belong to, pay a membership to. There's some training there. They can actually get credentialed by the ICF by providing a certain number of documented hours and even taking a test. Resume writers, they have something very similar out there. It's called the National Resume Writers Association. Again, it's not a mandatory thing to belong to this. It is a nonprofit organization. I believe it's $175 a year. They offer some training on that, and they teach you about the best practices. And so where I'm going with this video here is that, there's going to be a little bit of, artsy, what I would say, what people think would make a good resume, and there's not really a clear, specific guideline outside of what I would call best practices out there. Best practices would be, what I'm saying, ATS friendly, specific font sizes, specific fonts, accomplishment statements, rather than your resume reading like a job description. The number of pages, how many bullet points per company out there. There's best practices, and the best practices are often defined by maybe career transition companies going out there. They have research rooms, back offices where they can talk with hiring managers and HR professionals and even designers and creators of applicant tracking systems, and really kind of form the best practices. And that's what the National Resume Writers Association can do as well. So I'm going to leave a link in the notes section below to the National Resume Writers Association, because the cool thing about this is if you're looking for a resume writer, that you can go to their website, do a search for the state and even for the field that you're looking for, and they got specialists in those fields there. The cost of the resume writing is going to vary significantly. It's going to vary significantly. You can get something very inexpensive, you can get something, quite expensive. Same thing with coaching. Coaching is all over the place. It goes from maybe $75 an hour to $350 an hour. It really depends upon what the coach believes that they're valued at. So I hope you found this video informative and useful, and if you haven't already done so, definitely subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification, as I do upload new career tips and strategies every Tuesday, and I'd hate for you to miss anything.